If you think bonds are boring, how about the idea of a steady fixed income every month? Bonds could be the next stock market without the roller coaster ride. Find out at tristarfinancial.us and listen to What's Working Now weekday afternoons at 4 on CNN 650 Radio News, presented by TriStar Financial.
The following took place on Sports Radio 610 in Houston, Texas, USA. Earth.
Let's go out to Austin. John, you're up next on Sports Radio 610. How you doing, John?
I'm fine.
What's on your mind tonight?
This is Senator Whitmire. I'm calling y'all to not ask people to call me. I'm on board.
Oh, Senator Whitmire's calling us.
It's John from West U. Senator John Whitmire, a big University of Houston supporter and an athlete who in his spare time, when he's not working in the legislature, is running around Memorial Park. Senator, I've been very passionate. I've been on the air since we started flapping my guns. My information has it that there have been some behind-the-scenes movement led by the brilliant chancellor whose leadership of the University of Houston has been so welcome to try to get the University of Houston out of Conference USA and possibly into the Pac-10. And I understand that also that Texas is open to that. As a Cougar and a proud Cougar, can you shed some light on that? And please tell my young colleague that I'm not totally wet, nor am I making this up.
No, it's very accurate. I received a call around 2 o'clock this afternoon asking for my assistance, and the chancellor conveyed to me that there's very serious discussion. We talked about how we could network other people. We have some very impressive Board of Regents, Tillman Fertitta, Miss Ray, who's Corby Robinson's sister, farmer members, and we were organizing how to take it to the next step. I think it's fair to say it's preliminary, but I think it's probably past the first date, maybe even a second date. UT obviously is critical. But I've got to listen to part of your show. I heard y'all were discussing it, so I don't have a website here at my apartment, so I had to go find a tall hill. So around 7:45, I was on a hill, pulled over listening to it, and I almost called in at that point, but y'all were doing fine on your own. No, it's very serious, and I'm very much committed to it, to take U of H to a major conference, whether it be the Pac-10. I understand an alternative would be if Nebraska or Missouri do not answer in the affirmative by Friday, U of H would look at that option. So you're very credible. I can tell you I have been in discussions all afternoon, and a lot's going to happen between now and Friday. But if the city would get behind the U of H effort, local officials, I'd say the business community, but certainly the legislative delegation. I listened last night and this morning, John McClain and others talking about Baylor's influence. Don't underestimate Baylor, but the power they had in the early 90s with Ann Richards, Bob Bullock, and others are just not present now. But they come together as a community, so just as Lubbock does. Their sports program is their main community interest, where we are so diverse. And I could spend the rest of the evening talking about our diversity, our Med Center, our NASA, our oil and petro, et cetera. But this is one time we could all unite behind an effort to take our great asset, the University of Houston, to the next level. A stadium should not be the issue. Ticket sales should not be an issue. We can meet all those challenges if we just all pull in the same direction and really don't worry about who gets credit for it. Just make it happen.
We're speaking with Senator John Whitmire, who called us from Austin. Senator, can you hold for a moment? We'd love to continue this discussion with you.
No problem.
Senator John Whitmire next on Sports Radio 610.
913 Sports Radio 610. Sean Bajani and Barry Warner with you, taking you up until 11 o'clock. Surprise call from the Senator John Whitmire in Austin. He's sticking around for a few more questions from us. Senator, once again, appreciate the time and the call this evening. I had a couple of questions, and the first one's kind of a two-parter, so follow me the best you can. What I'm kind of wondering is what it's going to take politically to get this thing done if, for U of H. And is it more or less like UT is bringing a buddy along that is U of H, or is it Pac-10's level of interest?
I think it's probably Pac-10 and U of H, obviously looking for an opportunity. UT's probably weighing all their options, but UT obviously is the kingmaker in this instance. It's politics, but it's behind-the-scene politics. It's not like a grassroots letter-writing campaign. It'll probably happen quicker than that, although I don't want to suppress any effort to contact elected officials. Let me tell you the phenomenon. You got Baylor with one senator, Texas Tech with one senator. They network with their community leaders. It is so essential to those communities to hold on to a major league, a major conference. It's critical to Houston, but it's not where we're going to live or die by what conference we're in as a community. You go to Lubbock, a proud community. I mean, football is it in West Texas. It is the major industry of Tech. Baylor, very similar. So what they do is they put all their chips behind that effort. In Houston, we have multiple legislators, multiple senators, but we have multiple interests as well. So it's hard for us to come together with the cohesiveness of a smaller community like Waco or Tech unless we have this conversation. I mean, if we ever marshal all of Houston's power and influence, we can move a mountain. It's nuts that we're the fourth largest city in the nation and not in a major conference, but we're the largest city in Texas. And so U of H has gotten overlooked too often by state leadership, and I would even suggest local leadership. It is a major educational. We're moving in an effort to become Tier 1, which is critical academically, but you also have to have the support of you got to have a diverse campus. You got to have a sports facilities. You got to have, someone mentioned earlier, I believe you, that you need people living on campus. We're moving in all those right directions, and so now we have an opportunity. So what do? We need to contact people that can influence UT, the governor. Obviously, I would ask the A&M interest to be reasonable and fair and objective. Obviously, I think a lot of this has to do with recruiting. It's not to mention it's obviously economics and money. But there's some recruiting considerations. I mean, I appreciate A&M and others enjoying the dominance in the Houston area with their recruiting. Although I would mention, look at all the out-of-state recruiting. I mean, how many times do we lose folks to Missouri, Oklahoma State, et cetera? So just a lot of work needs to be done, but it begins with this conversation. Last night, we're not talking about this, and it was frustrating the devil out of me. This morning, John McClain did a fine job of promoting Baylor. It was time for the Cougars to step up to the plate. And the chancellor, let me take a moment to talk about it. It starts with the chancellor, and she's doing her part.
Senator Whitmire, with all due respect, I'm a little old school, and I have been working on this since last week, and I'm old school. I don't go on the air until I have at least 2 confirmed sources